Here's just a quick video on how to freeze dry cheesecake. Start by pre-cooling your freeze dryer. I like to do this with most foods just because it's safer from a food safety standpoint. Most foods have a 4-hour window that they can be at room temperature. So pre-cooling the chamber just helps us to stay within that 4-hour window. Pre-cooling the chamber is also super important if you're trying to skip the freeze cycle. Skipping the freeze cycle is probably the biggest cause of vacuum errors. If cold food is put into a warm chamber, there's a good chance that the ice in the food will melt just a little bit. If this ice melts and I skip the freeze cycle, the vacuum pump will immediately turn on and turn that liquid water into vapor. This raises the pressure in the vacuum chamber and causes an error to occur. Again, all of this is only important if you're planning on skipping the freeze cycle. This is just store-bought cheesecake that we pre-froze to try and make it a little stiffer when we cut it. Sitting on the trays like this warms the cheesecake up quite a bit, so we're still going to use a full freeze cycle for this cheesecake. A normal freeze cycle is about 7 hours, but if I really wanted to push it, I could go to about 4 hours. The fan in the chamber helps with these faster freeze cycles. After it's all cut up, go ahead and load it into the freeze dryer. Cheesecake is going to be a pretty hearty food, so we're just going to use the quick start setting for this recipe. This recipe is going to be about 115 to 120 degrees Fahrenheit and about a 1200 millitorr. The freeze cycle will be 7 hours and the dry cycle will be 16. But really you can just push go and it's going to work just fine. This is what the cycle complete page looks like. And don't worry if you forget to press the defrost button. There's a defrost button on the first page at the quick start. Once the cycle is done, go and release the pressure from the chamber. Then go ahead and open the chamber and check the food. This is the best part because of course you've got to eat some in order to test it. Try to find the thickest chunks and break them in half. What you're looking for is any kind of coldness which would represent an ice layer inside the food, meaning that it's not done yet. If there's no coldness in the food, then it's done and is ready to package. Once we know that the food is done, we go ahead and defrost the chamber. It's best practice to do this on every load, but on really dry loads like candy, you can go multiple loads without defrosting. This cheesecake should last about 3 years on the shelf in an oxygen-free environment. And if it lasts that long for you, you have way more self-control than I do. This stuff usually lasts about a week at my house. Doing cheesecake like this is great for gifts. We like to do it for birthdays and for holiday gifts because it's probably one of my favorite snacks that we make in the freeze dryer. I didn't show it in this video, but you always want to consider changing the oil after a load. To make the pump last the longest, you want to get in the habit of changing it more often rather than less often, even if the oil looks good. Another thing to keep in mind is that if you run the cycles at less pressure, your oil will last longer. If you notice dark or cloudy oil, just go ahead and set the pressure just a little bit lower the next time. There seems to be a trade-off between faster cycles and more oil changes, or slower cycles and less oil changes. Overall, cheesecake is pretty easy. You pretty much just cut it up and press go. If you like what we do, go ahead and help us spread the word and tell your friends. Thanks for watching.